Okay, so welcome. This is my digital student notebook, fully hyperlinked. And just to start, this is PowerPoint. And this is what you will see when you first open the document. You have kind of this welcome page. You see it looks like page 2 is blank. Over here, we have the table of contents. And then all of these pages are completely blank. So let me show you how this works. The first thing you'll need to do as the teacher is set this up for how you want it to go to your students. So for me, I'm going to add my class name here. The way that I set this up is I kind of took the idea of this being like the student desk, and I have wooden desks in my classroom, so I chose a wood background here. And so I'm going to tell the students, like, think of this as your desk, and on your desk is your notebook. But also on your desk are these like helpful buttons that can they can help you navigate through your notebook. And in order to use any of these links, all you have to do is hold down the control button and click on it. And it's going to go to the page you want to go to. What's important here is that if I select this without pressing control, I no longer can press control and click to it. I'll have to click it again to navigate. So if something is selected, I need to deselect it, then press control, and then it will take me where I want to go. Okay, so the next thing as the teacher in setting this up is you probably want to go to page 2. And on page 2, this tells you that I've reserved page 2 for your course guide or your syllabus. And in order to put your course guide in here, you will need to save it as a JPEG or a PNG. It's very simple to do. If you already have your syllabus as a PDF somewhere, you can always go to a website. I'll show you. There's a website called PDF Candy, and all you have to do, this right here, it says PDF to JPEG. You would just click on that button, add your file, and it will create your PDF into a JPEG for you. If you already have your syllabus in PowerPoint, you can save it as a JPEG right here. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, right here I have my course guide that I will be putting in my student notebook. And in order to save this as a picture, what I need to do, I like to zoom out. The first thing you need to do is add a white background. This is very important so that it sets up on your page correctly. So I'm going to go to Insert, Shapes. I'm going to select the rectangle, and I'm just going to click anywhere in here. I'm going to go to Shape Format. And I've set this up as an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, so I'm going to put those dimensions in here. I'm going to change it to the color white, and I'm going to drag this so that it lines up perfectly on top of my syllabus. I'm also going to make sure it does not have an outline. And the last thing I need to do is right-click on it and send it to the back. Okay, so that may seem weird, but that is a very important step in setting this up correctly. Next, you want to click and drag to select everything, or you could just press Control A and that will select everything, making sure that you get that white box that you just put in the background. Okay, next you're going to right-click on here and making sure everything is still selected, you're going to go to Save as Picture and then save this somewhere for you to easily access. And then I just come back over here to my page 2 of the digital notebook. I right-click in the center of the white screen there, the white page. I go to Format Background, click on Picture or Texture Fill, choose Insert, go find that document. And now that is in the background. You could choose to delete this post-it right here and just click on it and press, whoops. just click on it and press delete. Or what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to change this to a Dear Students and give them directions on what I want them to do. Okay, so my Post-it note will tell my students to carefully read this, select 5 things on here that they think are most important to them, and highlight them. It tells them to practice adding a text box, and it tells them to sign their name, and then a parent signature is homework. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So the way that I set up this notebook is there are 12 sections in this notebook, and I kind of just chose 12 because when I've made my digital planners, there are 12 months in the year. So anyway, and within each section, I've already included 10 pages. And to easily see how this is set up, and also something you might want to teach your kids right away, you can go over here to the Home tab and go to Section and Collapse All. And that shows you that all the different sections of this notebook, there's a home page and it has 2 slides in it, and we've already looked at those, the welcome page and the course guide. Then there's the table of contents, which is right here. And then each section, 1 through 12, right now only has 10 pages in each one, and you certainly can add more. So for me, in my classroom, I plan to have a bellwork section. And so what I'm going to do is set that up before I send this to my students. And to do that, I'm going to go to the table of contents page here first, and I'm going to rename this. So for my students, section 1 will be all about the bellwork. And I'm going to go ahead and even rename it over here. What I do is I select the section. I'm selecting section 1. I'm going to go to Home, Section, Rename Section. And I'm going to keep the number 1 associated with it, but I'm going to add what it is. One thing that's really important to go over with your students, and that I need to make sure you know as the teacher, is that each of these sections, the very first page is what is hyperlinked. So if I wanted to go to section 5, I hold down Control and I go to 5. And so this first page, you'll notice when you scroll over or hover over that slide, it says, "Do not delete, please." That's because if this slide is deleted, then that hyperlink kind of gets lost in the shuffle. So the very first slide of each section, do your best to try and not delete those. So what I'm going to do for my first section here is I'm going to give it just like a title page. To do that, anytime you want to add one of the layouts, this is also very, very important. Don't delete the first slide in each section. And when you want to change the layout, this is how you do it. Go to Home, Layout. Do not choose New Slide. Choose Layout. I'm going to choose a blank title page. And this is associated with, again, the first section. So I'm going to change this number to 1 because this is the first section. And I've already said that this is bellwork. And then I am going to be changing the layout for all the other slides in section 1. So I'm going to go to Home, Layout. And I want the bellwork layout. So I need one of these for every week in the first semester. And I know there are 10 weeks in each quarter of the first semester. So I need a total of 20 of these. And if I know there's already 10 pages in this section and one of them's already taken up, I need to add quite a few more here. In order to add pages to this section, it's quite simple. I'm just going to select one of the blank slides Actually, I might as well, yeah. I'm going to select one of the blank sides and I'm going to press Control D. And it just duplicates that page for me, which includes all of the links. So now I just have to make sure I have 10 of these. Okay, the last thing I need to do is assign a layout to these pages. So instead of going into each slide and changing the layout, I'm going to select the first blank one, scroll down to the bottom here, hold down Shift and select the last slide. Then I'm going to go to Home, Layout. I'm going to go find that same layout that I want. And now they are all in there. I already think I'm going to need more than 10 pages for each section. So I am going to go ahead and add 5 more to each one. Again, all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to grab one of the blank slides here, and I'm going to press Control D. I can, again, collapse all the sections and just make sure that I now have 15 pages in each section. Okay, so now that I have this set up the way that I want it set up for my students, I am now going to save this somewhere and send it to the students. Okay, so now I've saved this and sent it to my students. And when my students open it, this is what they will see. And the first page here that they get is their welcome page. It welcomes them to my class and it walks them through how to choose their notebook cover. So it says to choose a notebook cover, go to the Home tab, click Layout, and choose a cover design. So they're going to go Home, Layout, and they can choose from 9 different cover designs. One of the first things they'll notice is when they choose a cover design, a couple of more things pop up here. And also, whatever you, the teacher, typed in to the welcome page will automatically populate into their notebook cover. So it will already have that. And also, there are some Post-it notes over here. This is really just for them, little reminders, something fun for their home page. And over here are these buttons which explain these little symbols that I have on every page. So when they go to the very next page, it doesn't have the explanation anymore. So it's just the home page just has extra buttons to explain that the home picture is the home button. And this picture means table of contents. This is stickers. This takes them to a how-to page. And then this takes them to the section for studying or doing a self-check. So this is where I would then teach my students on page 2. I would teach them how to highlight something, how to insert a text box, and how to sign their name and talk to them about their homework assignment for doing this. I would definitely teach them about the table of contents because they will be changing the name of the different sections in our notebook as we go through this. I will talk to them about not deleting the first page of each section. I will also probably give them an opportunity to play around with decorating their notebook covers and also decorating this title page if they really want to. So I've included some stickers in here. You just, again, press Control and click on the sticker section, and it's going to take you to, there are 2 pages of stickers, and there are directions on how to use these stickers. All they do is they find whatever sticker they like. They select it and they press Control C, or they could right click and choose copy. Then they go back to whatever page they want to place it on, hit Control V, or again, you can right click and choose the paste options. I probably will add something like some requirements. I want them to put their name somewhere using a text box. And I don't know, I'll probably think of some other things. I'll also show them right here. You can go to insert pictures, and their stock images are full of all kinds of things, and they can go online and search for pictures. And it's just a really great resource. Of course, another thing I will teach them is to go to the Home tab, go to Section, collapse all. And so some of the things I wanted to show you about are, so we've seen this is the home page, we've seen the table of contents, I've shown you the stickers. I do have a how-to page that I will probably continue to add more and more to, but these are just some simple like how to do things in PowerPoint, like Control Z and copy, paste, all those things. I also have a self-check section that I've added. And so let me show you what that is. Again, I hold down Control, I click on that. And right now in this section, there are 15 pages. I certainly plan to have my students add a lot more than that, but 15 is probably good to start with. And I will have them be creating questions based on our notes. So the students would have to create whatever question they want based on our notes. This is for studying purposes. Okay, so the students would come up with a question. They would I would talk to them about putting in answer choices, and then they would type in the correct answer over here. And so they would I guess they would just put the letter B because that's the correct answer. And so later on down the road, when they're ready to study for a test, they can do a self-check. So it's been a couple weeks since we took notes on ancient Egypt, and they've already forgotten who united Upper and Lower Egypt. They can come over here, read through the choices that they gave themselves. If they still can't remember, or if they think they know, they can check their answer by clicking on the magnifying glass and then just scrolling over it and say, oh yeah, it's King Narmer. So it's just a fun section and a way to help them study for their tests. So the last thing I wanted to show you are just the different layouts that we have in this notebook. So I have a notebook page, and I called this the right side. Let's see, home layout. Right side meaning that it falls to the right, and then there's a left, which it falls to the left. I put in a summary page where the students can make a title and write a summary of something. This is Cornell Notes. If you're familiar with Cornell Notes, again, it's just like click and type. These little post-its to the side are just little reminders on how they're supposed to use these sections and when they're supposed to complete these different parts of Cornell Notes. I put in a whole bunch of different section title pages because I wasn't sure if you would want to call them units, topics, chapters, or something completely different. So I put in a blank one. I also put one that I called the blank title page KWL, and I plan to use these for sure with my students. We'll probably have a section. My section 2 will probably be map skills. So I'll teach them how to come in here, add this layout, change this to section 2, title it map skills. And here they type down, if you're familiar with the KWL layout, they type what they know, what they would like to learn, what they want to learn. And then at the very end, when we're done learning our map skills, then we come back and the kids summarize what they have learned. I also included just a blank page. I am a history teacher, so I put in an easy to complete timeline. Of course, at the top, they would put a title. Over here, it says picture or graphic here. So they could find a picture here. Here is where they would type and do the writing portion of it, of describing what is happening. And then, of course, here's where they would put the date or the year of when this event happened. And so this timeline has 6 events on it. If you have something that is like let's say 8 events, this is what I plan to do. I will have the students place one of these in their notes, do the layout thing, and then I'll probably just have them select the slide and Control D, duplicate it. And I will have them go to Insert, Shapes, Rectangle. And since I only need 2 more to complete my timeline, I'm just going to select and drag a rectangle over this. And then I'll probably tell them to go ahead and they can add their summary in here. So now my timeline, it runs on 2 pages, just like it would if this was a regular notebook. And they can also include a timeline. It's just this is a continuation of page 28. I also included just an empty desk if you want to put something else in there. For me, I had to do continents and oceans because that's a map I will use with my students, so I added that in here. For math, I got a request to add some graph pages, so I'd put in 2 different graphs. One that has these middle arrows and one without. There's a table of contents page. GRAPES, if you happen to be a history teacher, world history teacher, you might use the GRAPES acronym. This is the Freyer model, so this is where the students would fill in the information to explore vocabulary words and terms and phrases. I have 3 different bell work and homework layouts that I've already kind of shown you. I also have a weekly and monthly planner. Here's the weekly. This is the monthly. Of course, they would have to come in here and type in the month. And you would probably have to go through with them how to set up a whole month and put the dates in, and they can type whatever they want on each of the days. I do something with my students called TQC Notes. This is just in here because I use that. And then if you wanted to add some more stickers, you could give them another stickers page and then they can copy and paste new stickers in there. Or if they want to make their own stickers, they could do that too. So a whole bunch of different layouts you can use with the students. And one thing I should mention is the way this is set up is what you can actually see on the slide. If I were to go to a presentation mode, if you go into presentation mode, you're not going to be able to see the full desk, the full student desk. That's because the part that students actually work on and complete it's like if I were to actually give them a worksheet. So the stuff outside of it is just extra for the kids. It's the links to navigate the notebook. It's the Post-it notes that I put over to the side. But the actual information that they would turn into me is what is like on the 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And I did it that way because if I needed to print out these layouts and these worksheets for my students and actually give a hard copy to somebody, I can do that because it would fit a normal size sheet of paper.